It's Friday, January 5th, 2024. Welcome, 2024. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. I vote. Please join me. Please subscribe. Please share. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, and here, wherever you get your podcasts. So if you don't know me, I'm here to share information and use my experience as a longtime political reporter and as a legislative nerd. Communication is more important than ever this political election year. For this podcast episode, I'm going to begin with an overview of the Trump trials 2024. A look at the federal and state cases that Donald Trump is facing this year. Just some of them, not all of them. There are criminal cases, civil cases, lawsuits related to his businesses, lawsuits related to his big blabbermouth, top secret classified documents. There's the fake elector scheme, racketeering charges, and of course, January 6th, the attack on the United States Capitol. It was 3 years ago that a horde of Trump supporters broke windows, beat up cops and Capitol Police, pooped on the marble floors, all to stop the certification of the 2020 election results. Trump invited them there, they all said. He told them to come. It's going to be wild. Told them to march down to the Capitol. I'll be with you and fight for your country. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country anymore. Or words to that effect. Now, in the last 3 years, we've learned that the mob that day was just one of the many violent, harebrained ideas cooked up by Trump and his dirty band of cronies. Now, here is why I use the word violent and dirty. There were dirty acts. And there were violent acts. Maybe not physically. Maybe they didn't punch anybody out, but they sure bullied election officials in God knows how many states and threatened them. They publicly harassed innocent election workers. I mean, really, honestly, who is mean to election workers? They're like Santa's elves, for God's sakes. Here's a short paragraph on Trump and what happened to him in 2023. Just some of it. 4 arrests in 4 months. Donald Trump has now been charged with 91 felony counts across criminal cases in New York, Florida, Washington, and Georgia. The former president and current frontrunner in the 2024 Republican presidential primary faces the threat of prison time if he is convicted. He faces the threat of prison time if he is convicted on any of these charges. And yet, the base, the MAGA base that everyone's so afraid of hurting their feelings, what are they? Hothouse flowers? Ron DeSanctimonious and Nikki Haley will not criticize Trump. If Trump's convicted, they're going to pardon him. If they become president, well, they're not going to become president. No, we're going to get the Hitler wannabe because they just don't speak up. They just don't have a backbone. Well, rather than looking back, I just wanted to give you a synopsis of the Trump charges, and it's a lot. Let's look forward. I'm going to give you just kind of an overview of some of the cases and talk about some dates. Obviously, everything is subject to change. Like when I was talking about the Georgia case, 3 now of those defendants in the Georgia case have taken plea deals. Let's get going. This is from the New York Times. The story is called Trump's January, Court Dates and Election Nights. Now, I'm just going to read a paragraph. Quote, in the legal world, The former president is at the same time facing 2 trials this month that hit on a deeply personal level. One is the wrap-up of the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case against him and his company, and an expected decision from the judge on the penalties he must pay. Now, that judge, and this is me talking, has already found him guilty, and now they're just arguing about the damages. Now, the other case is the damages trial for defaming writer E. Jean Carroll. She's a New York writer who said she was raped by Trump in a New York department store in the 90s. Last year, a jury said that he had sexually abused her. And that's the end quote to the New York Times paragraph. And I hate to digress, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it because that proves that this is really me. Trump has gone on a social media posting rampage regarding E. Jean Carroll. Here's the thing. He's not writing anything himself. He's just reposting nasty comments about the writer. So his little minions write all the nasty things about her, and he's reposting them. Now, this tirade, this latest posting tirade, began when Trump was mentioned in the Jeffrey Epstein list story. This is a story that gossip lovers have been talking about, that the pedophile, or as they say in Great Britain, the pedo, Jeffrey Epstein, who liked to have sex with young women, his cohort in that nasty endeavor, nasty crime and crimes, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Epstein hanged himself while he was awaiting one of his trials, but he had already been found guilty. Anyway, he cavorted around with Trump and apparently Bill Clinton and others, and that list of all the alleged pedos was going to come out, and it's been out. Trump was mentioned, but it's not really so far anything that's shocking. I was kind of reading and standing by. I was going to post something, and then I wound up not posting anything. But when that story came out, that list, Trump was mentioned. He was just mentioned. That's when he went on this rampage against E. Jean Carroll. Now, Trump has said he wants to attend the E. Jean Carroll trial. And brace yourself. He wants to testify in the E. Jean Carroll trial. This is something his lawyers discourage. And if he has half a brain, which he does, he will not testify. So to bring you up to date on E. Jean Carroll, last year, a jury in a civil trial in a separate case brought by Carroll found that he had sexually abused her and defamed her on his, I hate saying truth because it's untruth, social posts in late 2022. And Trump still hasn't learned. He's still railing against the case. And just recently, a federal appeals court declined to delay this trial, this portion of the trial, this new trial. So it's not going to be delayed. It's going forward. After Trump lost in that last case to E. Jean Carroll, he verbally attacked her again. And E. Jean Carroll and her attorney sued him again. And that's what this case is about. And he's already been found guilty of it, so I'm reading that it's just going to be a penalty phase, but that he's going to go and speak up for himself. So I'm calling it the E. Jean Carroll trial, take 2. That is expected to happen on January 15th. Monday, January 15th, 2024, the Iowa Republican presidential caucuses begin. I don't know. So there's that. Let's go to what's happening on January 9th. So January 9th's the big trial. I mean, I think this is the big trial. I think this is the trial that, is going to get him. It's the insurrection trial, the Jack Smith insurrection trial. By the way, I named my puppy Jack Smith. Yeah, I like to name my pets after people that I love and admire. I had an Osgood because I love Charles Osgood. I had a Thor because I loved Thor. January 9th, oral arguments in Trump's D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals case. Now, this is because Trump filed a motion to dismiss this trial. Because of that, Judge Chutkan ordered the trial halted. And she's waiting to see what the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals says. Now, Jack Smith tried to leapfrog over the D.C. Court of Appeals and went directly to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court refused to hear this. Trump is claiming that he has presidential immunity and constitutional grounds, and he wants the case dismissed. So, briefs have been filed, and I've done some videos on them, and this is going to happen January 9th. I'm immune. I shouldn't have to stand trial. Please dismiss this case. So that's January 9th. On Thursday, January 11th, the New York civil fraud case has closing arguments. Now, of all the cases, this is the case that Trump seems to care about most. I mean, go figure. He's got criminal charges pending against him, but this is the one that he attended a lot of the hearings on this. And it's not a jury trial. It's the judge is already said that Trump and his company is guilty of fraud. Now, again, this portion, these closing arguments are just to decide the penalty. And the judge is going to decide the penalty. So that occurs on January 11th. And Trump wants to attend that as well. Okay. So I've already said that's on Thursday. On Monday, January 15th, the Iowa Republican presidential caucuses begin. And as I said, the E. Jean Carroll Part 2 defamation trial is set to be. Wow. Okay, that is just the next couple of weeks. Now throw in the possibility of the Supreme Court ruling or agreeing to hear arguments on the Trump 14th Amendment, Section 3 insurrection clause that the Colorado Supreme Court says disqualified Trump from being on the ballot in that state, and now Maine has also disqualified Trump. Woo! And that's pending, and other states are watching that very closely. Now, we may hear something that the Supreme Court's going to hear arguments in this as early as today, Friday, January 5th. The court will be back. So that's just a sampling of what's happening just in the next couple of weeks. There's also the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. We're going to know more about that in the coming weeks. There's the Georgia 2020 election interference case. Trial date yet to be determined. There's the defamation case. The hush money criminal case. Trump indicted on 34 felony counts by Manhattan grand jury for allegedly falsifying business records in an attempt to conceal hush money. This is the one with my favorite podcaster, Michael Cohen, because Michael Cohen was the dude who went to prison because he worked for Trump. So, yeah, this is all upcoming in the next couple of months as Trump prepares to run for president and is most likely going to be the Republican nominee. So what I'm going to do is this: as things come up, I'm going to post mini podcasts, and what I'm planning to do is produce a podcast on each of these cases and what's at stake and why we should care and what will be happening. And I'm going to take the puppy to potty out. So that's just what's happening the next couple of weeks. January. We're talking January. There's a lot going on. I post every day on TikTok. I post every day. I post some sort of short on YouTube. And I'm going to be posting longer videos on all these cases. And then as news comes up with the Congress and the budget and the border, I have podcasts written on each of these bigger items, and things change from day to day, but not much because nobody's really doing anything on these very important issues. The border issue is really important. It's a mess. And we throw money at it, but nobody seems to know what they're doing. And the budget, Congress doesn't seem to know what it's doing. At least the House doesn't. The Senate's trying to plow on through. Meantime, there's that wannabe Hitler and the Republicans running for president who are just horrible. And in fact, I just remembered they had a debate tonight, and I didn't watch it, and I'm going to try to watch it now. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. Please share. Please follow me. Stay tuned. Hold on to your seats. It's going to be a bumpy ride, and we'll be here every step of the way. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. Please subscribe. Please follow me. And most importantly, have a great 2024 and be safe.